Good morning, everybody. There is a lot going on, and I don't even know where to begin, but I'm just going to talk. Um, we had a really restless night last night. Neither one of us slept well, but we slept and we were comfortable thanks to some very generous followers that I have. And before I get into the thick of things, let me say a special thank you to Jen. Jen, I don't even know where to start with you. I honestly actually just don't even know where to start. Your generosity just knows no bounds. And not even for the things that are just very important to me have you been supportive. But I remember when my husband and I had our anniversary on the 21st of last month. And we were just going to go to the waterfront, go to the library, and just do some things that we wanted to do, some inexpensive stuff. And the way you treated us to lunch and the conversation that he and I had over lunch, it was one of those conversations that will live with me forever. And you made that moment possible for us. Sometimes people don't know when they reach out and when they help how impactful that is to other people. And you have always been just so impactful with getting the curbside library up and operational, and then the overwhelming response, community response to it. People like you and Nicole and Glenda and Rhonda and Jacqueline and just so many people have helped me with that. I thank you so much. I can't even put into words how much I appreciate you. And Nicole, thank you so much. I know you want that to be allocated for getting the pantry up and going again. And because people are sending financial donations specifically for that, I am definitely going to find that energy from somewhere, and I'm going to get that pantry up and operational again, fully. Like I said, we still have plenty of donations in my home, in my living room. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can get started, and there is great need in the community, and I'll get to that later. Glenda, again, always just so supportive. Thank you so much. Jacqueline, thank you so much for the coffee money. I appreciate you, girl. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. But if so, know that you get your own video. That's what usually happens there. Yesterday, my husband, when we were still back at home, he was very, very excited, and he said to me, "The pantry is up. It's up." And I said, "What do you mean it's up?" He said, "Someone picked up the pantry and put everything back in there neatly and organized. They had the books laying on, we have like this brick eave, and they had all the books laying there drying out. And what food that was broken open and spilled, like the beans and stuff like that, they put that into the trash, into our trash. They put all the diapers into the trash. We had a lot of diapers in there. I really hated to see those go. They, someone with a great amount of common sense. And the pantry is, it's like one of those heavy duty ones that you have to snap into the heat. did it as best he could. He picked it up. So the back part of it is like, it's pretty secure, but the front part of it isn't. The doors are off the hinges, but we were able to put the lock back on it, and the lock is kind of just holding the doors in place. But what I'll be able to do because of what he did, it was those people next door, y'all. My husband went out there and he saw the guy getting in his car and he said, "Hey, did you do this?" And he was like, "Yeah." And my husband thanked him profusely, because that curbside library has started to mean a great deal to my husband as well. And he brings your boxes in, not without complaint because they're heavy, but he's just one of those old grouchy men with a good heart that pretends like he's, not the good-hearted kind soul that he actually is. And it's like, boxes, all these boxes. But he's always just so excited to see and put things in, and he smiles, and it makes his heart happy too. And apparently my neighbors have been touched by the effort, because they helped us, which means I may have to reevaluate my feelings about these people next door. I guess between that and sending us the note about the party, those of you all who have been following me for a while know what that's about. I guess I can drop my attitude a bit and take it in baby steps. But I will not be letting my guard down, because my discernment, their actions say one thing, but my discernment says another. And I have to listen to my discernment. But that's not the issue. I'm glad that, they decided to see in that moment that we needed help and to help, because we've been helping so many other people. That pantry, for those who know about it, has become a very valuable resource. And so when I went onto our community board last night to see how other people were faring, so many people were looking for that resource. People who hadn't needed it before were looking for that red pantry. So what we're going to do is, as you can see, my background is different. We left our home and we had to go to a hotel. It didn't even occur to me to go to a hotel, because my home, one thing about my home is that I will invest in its comfort, because I'm there so much. I'm very much so an introvert. I like being home. I like being in my garden. I like minding my business. My home is really my sanctuary, and it's where I've poured so much of myself into. So it never even occurred to me to abandon my home. But I have an upper respiratory disease, and when the air gets hot and heavy and thick, I can't breathe. My coughing gets really bad. I can't breathe. This is why, as a matter of fact, why so many of the elderly people during natural disasters like this end up passing, because in tropical states, because of the heat index. Here in South Carolina, air conditioning is not a luxury, especially with the effects of global warming. Air conditioning it's a necessity, just like heat is in the winter in a house up north. It is a necessity. You cannot live without it. You can't. Even strong, young, healthy people, in the height of the summer season, and mind you, we're still having 90-degree days here and 30% humidity days here in the Carolinas, in South Carolina. People have lost their lives. I think the death toll last time I checked was at 19. We're going to pray for those people, those souls, and the family members who didn't expect that their family members will be gone from them so suddenly. I don't think anybody expected this storm to be as devastating as it was. I can't even imagine how impactful it was on those in the coastal areas when it hit Colombia so hard. For me, this came out of nowhere. Nowhere. I got some alerts on my phone in the beginning that said rain and strong winds, and that was it. And FEMA, the governor has declared a state of emergency. We are in a state of emergency, just in case you're not getting that. And I didn't say that. There's so many people without power, and people, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on, but, well, I guess so. People are still losing power because we have wires down everywhere, trees down everywhere, crews out everywhere. And it's just a lot going on. There's just so much going on. And you know how they say that some people are one emergency away from being bankrupt or being homeless. This is that emergency. This is that emergency. There were so many people with small kids who couldn't afford to go to a hotel. And honestly, had it not been for those followers of mine, my platform, we might not have been able to either. Today is the day where Chris was supposed to come out. That's our landscaper. And remove our tree, cut our tree and take it away. The one that fell in our backyard and tore our backyard up. But he's so backed up, he's pushed us back to Sunday. So we still have to deal with that. There's not a whole lot we can do on the outside in that backyard until he does that part. But in the meantime, after we have some breakfast here, we're going to go back to the house. I'm going to completely clean out our refrigerator because all of that has been lost. And I sure hate it. I know my losses have been small in comparison to people who don't have their loved ones and people who had to leave their homes, not because they didn't have air conditioning and couldn't breathe, but because a tree broke their homes in half. We are experiencing a disaster, and being who I am and being involved in activism for as long as I have and being someone who is conscious, I hate seeing the racism involved in this because it's such an unnecessary thing in this moment. FEMA is out because the governor has declared the state an emergency. FEMA is out, and when you look at the FEMA map, I dare you to pull it up, you'll see that Colombia is not a part of it. Colombia is not a part of that because Colombia is densely populated by black people. Don't get me wrong here. There are a lot of white people in Columbia, South Carolina. There are whole communities, whole cul-de-sacs, whole blocks, entire blocks and blocks full of, what's the word I'm trying to say, full of white people and their kids and their families. But it's gonna be not until this is how unconscious bias works. When you think of Columbia, South Carolina, you think that you think of an area that is largely populated by the African American community. Even though I would put it at, to be honest with you, I'd say about 60-40. It's not that far off. But you have a lot of poor black people in Columbia. And then you have a lot of white people. Those white people that are here, they tend to do very well. There's some poor white people, sure. Particularly in West Columbia. But, you know, until it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate, but until white people start to complain, black people won't be helped. And when the white people, who I am seeing in the community boards, asking for food, asking for help, asking for assistance, they're already saying that, hey, why are we not on the FEMA map? Well, that's why you're not on the FEMA map. Because of racism. That's why you're not on the FEMA. That's how unconscious bias works. So until someone points out to the racist system in place that, hey, there are white people being affected in this area too, you know, it won't occur to them to put Columbia on the map. Go look at that map. It's interesting and it's very telling. And then also too, I noticed that there are, even on the message boards themselves, you can see the racism. You can see where there are black families who are in desperate need of help, and they are reaching out for that help. And they are being told, again, it's unconscious bias. And I do think it's unconscious. I think some people are conscious, but I think most are unconscious. They are telling the black people, call 211, which is a marvelous resource. Don't get me wrong, a marvelous resource. It tells you where all the shelters are. It tells you where you can charge things. It tells you where you can get food. It just tells you where you can get help. It's a great resource, especially during a time like this. But the white communities, the white folks, they are reaching out to each other and they are helping each other. Hey, I'm available. You can come charge over here. Hey, I've got food. You can come here. Hey, I've got bottled water. You can come over here and grab a case. Hey, you can charge your, because there are people who are on pain management pumps, people who are on oxygen, people who really need their electricity and can die if they are not, if those instruments that they need are not charged. And we're being told that it's going to be days before we have power back again. And I believe that. Again, I'm a little nervous about I thought today I would have an answer on the tree and the fence and the yard, on the cost of that. But like I said, he pushed us back a day, so I don't know. And I don't even know if he's capable of repairing the fence or if we have to get a separate company out for that. And depending on the cost, like I said, we don't know whether we're going to pay it out of pocket or whether we're going to go insurance-wise. We would much rather pay it out of pocket if we can afford to cover all of those costs, because we don't want our insurance to go up. And I hate that we have to carry insurance that we really kind of can't use or are afraid to use. The only reason why I am happy that we even have insurance is because if our home, like some other people's homes, was a complete and total loss, we'd be covered. If there was a fire, like some people have small fires break out because of the down lines, if we lost our house via a fire, we are completely covered. My car, our SUV, is in our carport. If a tree falls on it, destroys the car, we are covered. So it has its good points, but it has its bad points too. It's these little emergencies in between that, you know what I'm saying. Y'all are smart people. All my followers are smart. I either block the dummies or they go away on their own. But yep, even during the natural disaster, you can see the racism in the system, and you can see the racism within people. Some people have even been attacked. You can see the classism. There are people who never lost power and who do very well attacking people who are experiencing one of the worst things to happen to them, and because they don't have college kids who have no place to go and need to charge their phones and have to write papers because life goes on, are being attacked for being poor college kids. The elderly are being attacked for not having life savings. Families who have children that have special needs are being attacked because it just takes one emergency. Most Americans do not have $1,000 in the bank in the event of an emergency. This, for a lot of people right now, is that emergency. Since we can't get Chris out today, what we're going to do is I'm going to take a shower after this. We're going to go down and we're going to extend our stay. We're able to do that thanks to some very generous supporters, because we'd be one of those people if not for y'all. We really would. And that's just the truth. And when we came here, I'm glad my husband had the idea early, because when we called and asked if they had space, they said they had plenty of rooms. And then by early evening, completely booked up. Can't get a room anywhere in the area. People are driving an hour trying to get rooms for their families. And it's just a lot. So after we go down and we have breakfast and we extend our stay, because they wouldn't let us do it last night, but they gave us the option to do it in the morning. Because I don't know, I'm so frugal. I'm like, well, what if the lights come on? What if they, and we've paid for another day and then that money is wasted? So, and that bothers me because I don't want to waste money, because I already have to go home and clean out somewhere between $200 and $300 worth of food out of my refrigerator and freezer. And that's going to be heartbreaking in and of itself. But I'm not going to let it sit there and spoil and go, make the house all gross and everything. So at least I can have that clean and I can do some organizing. And I'm going to take the doors off of that pantry. And I know y'all said pouring to us, but really we're okay right now. Again, because of our supporters, we're okay. So why not make sure that some other people are okay too? You all sent all that stuff for this, to help people. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just take the doors off that pantry and let people help themselves to what they need, because this is an emergency. It's an emergency. And while we clean up and do that, we're going to put out a community bulletin and let people help themselves. I'm going to pull out all of the books temporarily. Well, they're out there drying anyway, and I'm not going to put any new ones. I'm going to take out half those toiletries temporarily, and I'm going to cram it with as much food as I can throughout the day, the course of the day, so that people have that resource, because y'all provided it for this. And we're going to help some people, because what else can we do? I am going to put my, I'll keep you updated throughout the day. I'm going to put the wish list in the comments. If you would like to help on the financial end, and this money would go to keeping us whole and solid, as well as the pantry, unless you specifically say in your notes, hey, this is for the library, which I have no problem with. That's what those monies will be allocated for. We're trying to hunt down another pantry right now, so that we can, get something more stable, and get those donations going, because people are going to need them now more than ever. And I was going to actually kind of stop the wish list for a moment till we got our home situation together, because there is going to be the backyard, It's going to be a massive cleanup effort in our own backyard. Our front yard is okay. It's just full of leaves and limbs and debris, but that's nothing. But our backyard is where the money and the resources is going to have to go for us. And everything else, our beloved home, it is solid, it is intact. Our roof is fine, our home is fine. We're great. Like I said, we don't have to stay in a hot, stuffy, humid home. I don't have to worry about my breathing. I don't have to worry about my asthma. I'm going to go home, get a new set of clothes, take my medications, and help as many people as you all have allowed me to. I thank you so much. I'll keep you updated throughout the day. Y'all have a great day. And if you are going through this, I'm sorry for you. If you're not, count yourself blessed. It's a mess.